Is it not working?
I think it is.
Okay.
Thank you guys for letting me come share about our ministry in Montana, and yeah, I really appreciate you taking care of Rick. It is a chore. Well, we miss him in Montana, but we're glad the Lord's using him where the Lord has brought him. So, thanks for. I've talked with him some since we've been here, and some when he came to our men's retreat last April, and he doesn't have a bad thing to say about you guys, which is good. And if he did, you'd need to kick him or something. But yeah. Pinehaven Christian Children's Ranch is located in northwestern Montana, and you know, we live in the perfect place to bring kids who come from backgrounds of, you know, kicked out of school, sex, drugs, and alcohol. Parents don't know what to do with them. Maybe it's a family situation where they just need to be somewhere else for a while. Over half of our kids, oh yeah, that'd be great. Over half of our kids right now are kids who have been adopted into Christian homes, and it's just not working out for them. And you know, that's a really tough thing, and a lot of kids need parents and somewhere to be to learn God's love and to learn what a family looks like, and that is a tough thing. Yeah. So most of our kids come from all over the United States. We have had just a few from out of country. Young man you'll see in our graduation photos from Alberta. We've had a couple from Germany, but most of them come from all over the U.S. from ages of 10 or 11 through graduation. Now 16 and a half is our cutoff age, because we need at least a year and a half to work with these kids to get any kind of lasting change. Change is hard, and one of the things that we make sure of before we ever take a student at Pinehaven is we make sure that they want to come before we will take them. Because if somebody does not want to change, then it's a waste of their time and our time to put that effort there. And so we make sure they write us a letter, and we talk to them either on the phone or face to face, and make sure that this is an opportunity that they want to take advantage of. One of the nice things about working on a ranch is there's always something to do. And you guys have heard of ADHD, haven't you? You know, too much energy. Well, it's amazing. When you just have chores and just everyday life includes some physical exercise, the kids seem a lot more normal. Yeah. So, hard work at the ranch, you know, there's always something to do. The ranch is 1,120 acres, just to the south of St. Ignatius, Montana. There's a map right here on the table if you want to see where that is, but we're about 100 miles south of Glacier National Park. And I'll say it again, and probably a couple times as I go through this, but we always have a place to stay at Pinehaven. Please come and just come and drop in for a few days or something. Or I know that Rick is interested in bringing out a work group, which we organize for a week when we have an opening, and our next opening is going to be in 2021. We're blessed to have a lot of churches who want to come from Saturday to Saturday, and I'll talk more about that later. But this is kind of an overview of the ranch. This is the main 80 acres where all of our houses are, and some of what you're seeing there, these are different kid houses. And down here we have our shop and our meat room and storage, and there's a staff house here. This is our school at the ranch, and it's just the perfect piece of ground for what we need to do, because we do run, there's probably 30 cow-calf pairs, and they'll be getting ready to calve here in the next few weeks, along with horses and the rest of our herds. We have around 100 animals with the dairy herd and all that, as well as heating all of our houses with wood and just being a great, wholesome atmosphere for these kids to grow up in. And anytime we can keep the cost of living down, you know, whether it's growing a large garden or, like I mentioned, the livestock for meat and milk and the trees, we try to do that. Now, I will admit that our garden did not look this good this last year, and so I didn't update the picture. We had the coldest, wettest summer I can ever remember. It seems like it rained every other day. We had no fire danger whatsoever in our area throughout the whole summer, which, if you know much about us, we always have, you know, they shut down the woods and don't let people go hiking because it gets so dry. But, yes. This is my grandfather. He's the one in the blue, not the... My grandfather is the one, he'll see his picture later on, but he's the one that the Lord chose to start Pinehaven. He has been praying for years and years. Started Pinehaven in 1976. for years and years, he's been praying that the Lord would bring some bowling alley lanes that he could put in there at the ranch for the kids. He calls it good, clean fun. And to be quite honest, this is something that I never would have done. But, you know, sometimes the Lord brings you what you need, whether you know it or not.
I was there for that picture.
Yes, you were, for our men's retreat. Again, thank you for letting us have Rick as our speaker. But Granddad, at the age of 89, got to roll the first ball just a month before he turned 90. And he and Grandma are both in their 90s. They were married at 18, so you'll see a picture of their 70th wedding anniversary. And yes, so this is what that looked like. Where are you, Rick?
Up above, up the stairs.
Up the stairs. Anyways, he is thrilled, and we've got a guy who opens that up every other Saturday, and the kids go out to special events on New Year's Eve. They passed into the new year after our church service of the church. They went up and bowled into the new year, so they were having fun with that blessing. Every summer, part of that work includes, and sorry, the other picture of the bowling alley and all that, the kids built that. You know, they got an opportunity, and not, you know, they got a chance to work with the people who were building it, and an opportunity to learn how to frame up a wall and do this and the plumbing and all sorts of stuff. And it's amazing on a ranch. It's just everyday life, and you don't realize it, that these kids are being taught things that they can go and get a job with later. Some of our kids have gone on, gotten jobs cutting meat, or you know, whatever it is. It's just everyday life there. We put up somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 of these hay bales. Square ones, that's right. You know, it's good for them to learn how to stack a trailer and all that. Do you guys know why we use the square ones instead of the big round ones? Because we don't have a big round baler. Yeah, this way our cows get a square meal. A little bit. I'm third generation of preachers, so I'll apologize now for that. By the way, it always tells me a lot about the congregation, or a lot about the minister of the congregation. When the congregation laughs, it means you have a funny minister. So you guys are doing well. And you know, this is a great life lesson for the kids. Why would you work so hard in the summer when you don't get to see the fruits of that until the winter? Well, you know, you've got to do that. Or when it looks like this in July in Montana, you need something. Sometimes, not usually. But you have to have something to feed the cows. And, you know, with the time change, they're probably doing this right now. And it's just, you know, it's just life. And it's good for the kids. Now, we don't always throw the hay in the air, but for the video, it made a great video. Yeah. And we probably have about that much snow right now, at least last I checked. Not very much this winter, really. We have been moving our dairy herd to Jerseys. They're a little easier to work with than the great big Holsteins, and a lot better quality milk. And really, a couple of these Jerseys give almost as much as most of our Holsteins. But the kids get to learn that. Whichever house has that chore, they're up at 5:30 in the morning, get down there. And for 39 years, we hand-milked all of our cows. And I tell you what, the kids love that, actually. The boys would always want to shake your hand and show you how tough their hands were getting, how strong they were. Yes. Okay. Hands on it. Okay. So we moved to the automatic milkers a few years ago, trying to stay ahead of any health codes, and you know, if any of the kids are doing a good job in the milking industry, they're going to be using equipment like this. And so just, you know, one more way to prepare them for that. Did you guys know when it's 20 degrees below in Montana, the cows give off soft serve ice cream? That might not be completely true.
We didn't even advertise it with entertainment.
Not on these ones. No, these are automatic. They're not the manuals.
Do the brown cows give chocolate milk?
They used to. Yes. We do have enough horses to, when our summer visitors are there, they all get an opportunity to take a ride. We try to pair you up equivalent to the horse if you've ridden a lot. We have horses that have been ridden a lot. If you've never ridden, we have horses that have never been ridden. And we let them In the middle of May, we need to bring the calves in, because they'll be a couple months old by that time, from the back pasture. So we get the horses, and they get them all ready. And let me just say, some of our kids have gotten awfully fast at saddling horses. And done. But they ride out west. I know you guys are from Tennessee, but just so you know, these blue things back there, we call those mountains. You guys actually have, well, I call them hills, but you guys actually have some, what's the elevation here? 1,800. Okay, but man, it is up and down and up and down. One of the things I love about Montana is we get snow, but we rarely have ice. The roads will get a little icy, but not like you get freezing rain in the Midwest. And I'm looking at your guys' hills, and that scares the snot out of me.
The tallest mountain in the Smokies is just 40 feet shorter than Judith's behind Roy and Lisa's.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. Be glad you're not Kansas. Okay.
Yeah.
They get out on the west pasture, they bring in the cows and the calves, they run them into this funnel right here, then we sort them into the different sizes, and then we need to run them through our squeeze chute so that we can brand and vaccinate them. And so this is what our squeeze chute looks like. We turn a calf loose with 3 to 6 kids, and they try to figure out how to squeeze it. Eventually they get a hold of a leg or the head or a tail, and the purpose is, it is law in Montana that you do have to brand all of your livestock, and so we do that with a pH bar, and a lot of people want to know, does branding hurt? And I can guarantee you that branding doesn't hurt. You just wear gloves, keep your hands way up on the brand. It's really painless, so.
Is that how you found your health insurance, to see which ones can grab that calf?
Yeah, that's an idea. No, we usually initiate them when they first get there, if they're young enough. Yeah,
So you need brand prior.
we do. Now the horses, I think we have branded. Yep, the kids, when we did this, and keep in mind, not all that's dirt. I asked the kids when I showed them this presentation on New Year's Eve at the church, and I said, would you guys rather have Christmas or Roundup? And unanimously across the board, they would rather have Roundup than Christmas. They just love to get in there, be rough and tough, have some fun. What do you do after that? The boys are always pretty theatrical and they're fun to watch, and I used the drone video of the girls because it took a little longer, which I did speed up. But it's the girls you really have to watch out for. See in this picture, she's got her hand on the side of the calf and everything's calm. And in the next picture, yeah. So I tell the boys with the ranch, leave the girls alone. It won't go well for you. Oh yes, the rod of correction. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but when they translated this verse from its original language into English, they did not translate it correctly, because if they had, the rod of correction would have been called the shovel. At Pinehaven, if you are cheating at school, stealing, fighting, lying, that sort of thing, you might spend some quality time scooping cow manure. It piles up around the feeder there. Somebody needs to remove that. Who better than somebody who needs to think about what they've been doing. And what we're trying to teach these kids is cause and effect, because so many of these kids have not learned that there's either positive or negative actions for their behavior. They think there's just positive. Nobody's ever, held their feet to the fire per se. And so at Pinehaven, he might end up scooping cow manure, and what we're trying to teach him is later on in life that's going to look something like prison, and ultimately we're talking about hell. And we don't want any of these kids to end up there, so we're trying to teach them to be doing what they need to be doing so that they can be where they want to be, not just at Pinehaven, but for eternity. So at the ranch, we get to teach the kids how to work, we get to work on behavior, and there's also lots of privilege and some other things, but this is the worst thing that will happen to these kids at Pinehaven. The other thing we're trying to do, and very kind of the foundation, sort of the foundation of what we're doing at Pinehaven, is the house parents that are there, because they have the job of taking on as many as 6 boys and 6 girls and showing them Christ's love in a Christian family atmosphere. And so many of these kids are not getting that. Just teaching them how to obey their parents and have a relationship with them. These are the greatest people in the world. They're battling Satan on the front lines as he tries to tear down these little ones, and that's just not okay. Very few of our kids come from homes, unless they're adopted, that still have biological mom and dad in the home. A lot of these kids are being raised by their grandparents, by one of their parents, or whatever the situation might be. We sometimes joke that ADD means absent dad disorder. And it's not really funny. It kind of is, but kind of not. And so many of these kids need that. They need a mom and dad role model, and to see how that works so that they can break the chain and their family and their kids can have a different experience. This is Bill and Sherry Coulter. They are amazing people. They're from Illinois. They have moved away from home and family. They're, let's see, that'd be about a 26-hour drive, 27-hour drive from where their family lives, so that they can help these kids. And I asked them the other day, I said, how many kids have you had in your house since you've been here? I think 7 or 8 years they've been there. And Bill said we've had, I believe, 46 or 47 kids they've been able to influence for Christ. And we need house parents so badly, because these are the people that are really there helping these kids, giving these kids an opportunity to change. And right now I only have 2 full-time sets of house parents. And I've talked to the other children's homes, and even Cooks and Hills, it's right in the edge at least of the Bible Belt. They have trouble getting house parents as well. Why don't you guys go back and sit with Mom? And it's a huge need. Now, Bill and Sherry, we probably would have lost them a little over a year ago, because his dad had advanced Alzheimer's or dementia, excuse me, and his mom is old enough she wasn't able to care for him through all of that. And so they were able to move his parents out to a spare apartment we have at the ranch. So it was a good part of having some extra room right now. And his dad passed away not too long after that. But in this picture, in the kind of green grass, that's Bill's mom. And she's 86 or 7, or what she is, but she's... I hope she's not younger than that and then sees this video later, but she'll probably forgive me. But she interacts with the kids, and they just love her. She goes into the house and she bakes cookies with them, and she does crafts with them, and she works around the ranch just to help us out. And then you can see on the kids' faces, they just absolutely love it. It's been so good for us there at Pinehaven. This is Hannah and Cody when they first came. You mentioned, having our house parents do that. Well, this is how we initiated them. And it wasn't long after that we had a set of house parents leave, and they ended up with 9 kids overnight. And they have just been doing an amazing job. Now, something I'm not bashful about saying is that people my age and younger, I'm in my early to mid-30s, people my age and younger, we don't have a lot of substance in this country anymore. We tend to be selfish. We don't have a good work ethic. If you want a job anywhere in the U.S., it's not hard to get a job. You just have to, put in the time and the effort. And there's so many jobs where employers can't get people to show up and pass a drug test. That's all they want. And they can't even get that. Hannah and Cody are younger than I am. They're in their later 20s now, and they're just amazingly mature for their age, and they're doing such a great job. If you would pray for them, They are due to have their first child sometime this year, so that's going to be an added stress, but also a blessing. So pray for them, for her and the baby's health, and then for what they're doing there, because it's so important what they're doing in those kids' lives. So we also have a lot of other staff, and the Bible verse that I used to have up on my slideshow before the house parents and all this was talking about godly guidance and how that can help keep people from stumbling. Some of our other staff, like Rick, our foreman, and Maxine, and her husband's not in the picture. Maxine and Ned have been house parents with us for over 30 years. Rick's been our foreman for that long, and if you come out on the work group, as long as he's still with us, he's not that old. He's in his early 60s, and we're still looking for a wife for him, by the way. Anybody knows a good gnarly woman. But
Rick and I are the same age. He was born in the same year I was.
yes, that'd be 43? No. But just amazing people. And while I'm out here on the road and traveling, I've got people that are keeping everything going and being there for those kids and keeping everything rolling for what they need. That also happens in our school. In 1984, my aunt and uncle, they went to Platte Valley Bible College and then moved to the ranch. And just within a few weeks of being married, if I remember correctly, started the school that we have at the ranch now in the basement of their house. Now we have our own school building. And that keeps the kids from having all the, access to drugs at the public school and some of the trouble and negative behavior there, and keeps everything consistent as far as what is expected at school and at home, and home and school know what's going on both places, and it works out really, really well. Plus, we're able to help them graduate when many are behind, and we can kind of let them work at their own pace and get that done. This is my aunt. Her name is Audrey, and unfortunately, a year and a half ago, we lost my uncle to pancreatic cancer. And as I mentioned with house parents that we so desperately need, we have yet to find a teacher to come who can teach upper level math and science. And so, it's just, our country's not raising up servants, missionaries, ministers anymore. And as I talk to the different children's homes and the different ministries of the missionary convention, everybody is starved for workers. I think Jesus even was talking about that some, didn't he? He said something about the harvest being plentiful, but the workers are few. So if you guys know any workers for us or your other ministries or missions, we all need as much help as we can get. So please put that word out there. I forgot to lay out kind of what we're looking for in our house parents. Our house parents, we're looking for a very solid in their marriage, married couple who can lead a godly home. We generally look and see how their children turned out, to see how their parenting skills are. When they will do that with Hannah and Cody, but just to see what kind of parents they are before we hire them there. We are direct ministry under the First Christian Church of St. Ignatius, and as such, all of our workers at Pinehaven are considered ministers of the church. And being a Christian church, doctrine is important to us, as well as, just who they are in their spiritual and Christian walk as well. So beyond that, we have a training period where they'll come to work with us as what we call relief house parents. They'll have their own house, and after enough training has gone on with our people, then they will have everybody else's kids when the full-time house parents need time off, usually for 6 months to a year and a half, and then we'll become full-time house parents. Right now I have 2 sets of relief house parents,